The meteor that rocketed into Russia really got our attention a few weeks back. We learned today about the threat of such things to our modern world. In the meteor and asteroid tracking business, they call the big ones city killers. And while there was very little good news today about our chances of getting them before they get us, there was some talk about future remedies. Our report tonight from NBC's Stephanie Gosk.
Last month, a meteor rocketed into the atmosphere and exploded over Russia. Frightening because the shockwave blew out windows and injured 1,200 people.
It came out of the sun. It came from a direction where our telescopes could not look.
Today at a hearing on Capitol Hill, leading space scientists told lawmakers the U.S. is not prepared to defend itself against meteors of the same size.
If you detected even a small one, like the one that detonated in Russia, headed for New York City in 3 weeks, what would we do?
The answer to you is if it's coming in 3 weeks, pray.
Scientists say they have identified all asteroids large enough to wipe out the planet, like the one suspected of killing off the dinosaurs, and there is no immediate risk. The concern is meteors that are smaller, but still big enough to take out a city.
The number of undetected potential city killers is very large. It's in the range of 10,000 or more.
The probability of impact is low, they say, but at present funding levels, NASA believes it will take almost 20 years to identify them all. What would help is an infrared telescope. The government won't pay for one, but a former astronaut is looking to build the first ever privately funded deep space telescope. NASA is collaborating on the project, but the space agency says it still needs more money to identify and develop ways to protect the planet.
A good segment of the population thinks it's just a matter of call Bruce Willis in, and notwithstanding we don't have a shuttle anymore.
Press it!
Hollywood's version is definitely a bit dramatic, but scientists say there is reason to be concerned. The meteor in Russia was like a shot across the bow. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
CBS News contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City University of New York. Welcome.
Glad to be on.
What do we expect to come out of these hearings?
Well, everything's on the table. Intercepting an asteroid, blowing it up, deflecting it. It's going to be like Buck Rogers meets the United States Congress. Now, it's a no-brainer that what they need first is an early warning system, a space telescope that can detect an asteroid from a distance, because it would only cost a few $100 million. That's chump change compared to like a stealth bomber. And realize the threat is real. You know, in Russia, if that asteroid had held intact for a few more seconds, it would have hit the ground with the force of 20 Hiroshima bombs. Casualties would have been...
The two events of Friday, February 15th, the harmless flyby of asteroid 2012 DA-14 and the not-so-harmless impact of a meteor in Russia are a stark reminder of the need to invest in space science.
Reading from Dr. Holdren's testimony says, quote, depending on its composition and velocity, an asteroid of 140 meters in diameter could have an impact energy in the range of 50 to 500 megatons of TNT equivalent and would be capable of causing destruction over a large region. Describe with greater detail what you mean by a, quote, large region, end quote.
The size you're talking about, 140 meters, and you've got the numbers exactly right, could devastate the better part of a continent. The only fortunate thing is that the estimated frequency with which objects of that size strike the Earth is about 1 in 20,000 years.
The one that hit Russia, there's no question about that, and that's about all we know about it. Why didn't we know that was coming? It was in the air or on its way.
It came out of the sun, Congressman Hall. It came from a direction where our telescopes could not look. We cannot look into the sun.
Well, we can't make that determination as to where it's going to come from. We ought to be able to do something no matter where it comes from if it's going to hit the Earth.
The most important single thing we could do to improve our capacity to see any asteroid of potentially damaging size coming would be an orbiting infrared telescope of the sort that the B612 Foundation
no, thank you.
working on.